When the Kashmiri Pandit exodus began in the late 1980s, I think 1989 was the height.
Yes.
The Sikhs remained in the valley. They didn't move out.
See that are the Sikhs in Kashmir, they're not Punjabis, they're ethnic Kashmiris. Sikhism actually started in Kashmir as it started in Punjab. Guru Nanak started.
During the same time.
Yes. In the very beginning of this militancy period, the Sikhs were not that much attacked like Hindus in Kashmir. So we were a powerless people. Nobody would feel threatened by the Sikh presence in Kashmir. Actually, Kashmir came in turmoil after Punjab. So it was a Punjab which was the first.
This could also be the reason, feeling of alienation among the Sikhs in the Kashmir Valley also after 84.
There is a silent migration of Sikhs happening in Kashmir. Especially it happened after Chittisinghpura. Chittisinghpura happened in which 35 Sikhs were killed. And after that we have seen a pattern of a migration.
Can we say that the insurgency in Kashmir didn't target the Sikhs in 1980s? They are targeted Hindus. Is this a fact?
Well, initially it was Hindus. There was also Muslims who were killed, who were being seen, whatever, termed, labeled. It's very easy to label anybody anything, That's the very scary part of Kashmir.
When it comes to the investigations of the massacre of the Sikhs in Chittisinghpura in the year 2000, this is an unfinished probe. Everybody knows that.
We have if we could have a probe on the Pathribal, why not Chittisinghpura?
Why not Chittisinghpura?
Punjab has always been a backbone for the Kashmir. I think Sikhs everywhere outside Punjab look up to Punjab for everything, right? If Chittisinghpura people would have migrated, then the entire Sikh population of Kashmir would have.
Hello viewers, I am Prabjeet from the Story Talk channel, and we'll be doing a podcast today with Komal JB Singh. Komal is an author of a book. She has written a remarkable book, Invisible Minority, The Sikhs in the Kashmir Valley. And we'll be talking to her today. And hello Komal, welcome to the Story Talk channel.
Hi Prabjeet, thank you so much for inviting me.
Komal has done PhD from Jawaharlal Nehru University, JNU, and the book which she has authored is Invisible Minority, The Sikhs in the Kashmir Valley. That was part of a thesis in the PhD, am I right, Komal?
Yes.
Welcome to Story Talk channel.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Komal, I think if we can straight away come to your book, what I personally think is, you have this narrative you have built up on Kashmir, and before that, this kind of narrative has never come up on what the Sikhs are, what the Sikhs in the Kashmir Valley have been going through, and how do they take themselves, especially after the abolition of Article 370, whether it makes any difference. I'm asking this to you simply because when the Kashmiri Pandit exodus began in the late 1980s, I think 1989 was the height.
Yes.
The Sikhs remained in the valley. They didn't move out, not even to Jammu at that time. So with this kind of peculiarity in the history of Kashmir, it has not been talked about much. So was that the reason that you authored this book, you picked up this topic, this subject?
Prabjeet, when I entered my research journey, like I came to JNU, I started my MPhil, PhD and all this, I realized that there was a complete absence of Sikh narrative, in terms of Kashmir studies. Now, that was really very striking for me because Kashmir is really talked a lot and there is a lot written on Kashmir. It's not something which is, on which people have no eye, right? It's something on which so much is written. But then I certainly realized that there is quite a very dominant narratives on Kashmir studies also. So since I come from that community and when I start studying it and I realize that there is some sense of absence of voices, and then I started looking into literature and unfortunately I couldn't find much. I could see there are books written here and there, maybe by some Punjabi writers, but some of them were fiction, some of them were narrative based, but as such, not an academic historical research work.
There has not been even a single non-fiction on this conflict.
I mean, we have, I mean, see, whatever I have tried to establish, I mean, I don't want to be selfish to be called as that I'm the one who's doing the first time. I think this will be a discredit to the people who I have met over all these years.
Yes.
So there was a kind of a knowledge which was existing there. But I mean, I might be a pioneer in bringing out all those voices in this book. So we have like local writers, but as such, they were not trained researchers. So they have done what little they could do, right? Like personal writings and all. But as such, they didn't meet the academic standards. So, and then of course, you know, if you go through the academic work, it's very rigorous, and you have to see everything has to be supported by evidence. And you need a source of information. You cannot just write what you want to write.
Whatever has been documented.
Yes. So somehow, with the help of narratives, because that was also challenging for me, because if there is something on which there is nothing written, then how you would write it? So methodologically also it was very challenging.
Yeah, you belong to Baramulla, am I right?
Yes, that's my native place, and that is where I was born. I did my initial education from that place, and that town is very close to my heart. It's a very beautiful small town on the bank of Jhelum. I just get into nostalgia whenever I talk about it. It's a beautiful place. So that was where I was born, where I came from, and I did my earlier education there's a very famous school, Christian school called St. Joseph's. So I
in Baramulla?
Yes. So I studied, it has been a kind of a family school. All my family members have studied. So, so that was a kind of things which I thought that, we should do. And so this book is kind of, it is trying to lay down the foundation of Sikh studies, I think that is where I think. Now, it might not be the complete work, like there's no work which is actually complete, right? And then when you are writing something which has not been written at all, then it becomes very challenging also. So of course there were a lot of challenges, but God has been kind to me that, that I met good people, locals, some old people who trusted me and helped me in, trying to, and of course JNU as an institution was, and my department, they were really supportive in doing this kind of work, because also it's also a kind of work which, generally in academics, people don't see empirical work in that way. They don't think that, it's not theoretically rigor and all that. So it was a kind of a new work also. So but this is where my heart belongs. So I did actually what I wanted to do.
So whatever content you gathered through this oral history, we can call it, and this is something very important. How this has been an eye-opener to you also, because once you mentioned that this was an eye-opener for me also. Could you please elaborate that?
Well, my book is not just based on oral narratives, because that's not how we can do a PhD. So it is definitely supported by a lot of secondary sources, which I gathered over the years. And that's why my work took so much of time, because I had to dig so many archives, libraries, locals. But I could establish, the writings of that time. And then wherever there was a gap, and then I tried to fill that gap through those testimonies and narratives. And I found that, because these are the generation, they are the people who are on the verge of their lives, on the edge of their life, which I can say. And then their narratives are very important in documenting a history.
In the very first chapter, you began with Guru Nanak.
Yes.
Can you please share that with us?
My work is trying to do two things. First, I'm trying to bring out the voices from Kashmir which are not being talked, right? Which are there, which are seen, but still remain invisible, right? And then at the same time, I'm also talking about the invisibility from the Sikh studies also. Like, because if you see Punjab, we are more focused on, I mean, the Sikhs are seen only through Punjab.
Yes.
Right? And but then this work also established, and there are other works like Professor Himadri Banerjee, and there are other works also from outside Punjab, how Sikhs have, evolved historically. So I think this work also contribute that it's a high time that we expand the Sikh studies, from Punjab. So when I tried to establish the first chapter, which is on the origin of Sikhism in Kashmir, and I could find that there's a gurdwara, this very famous gurdwara in Mutton, which is in Anantnag, which is a South Kashmir. And in that gurdwara, Guru Nanak came and he met Brahmdas, where he had, and that entire conversation and a dialogue which happened. I mean, this is what Guru Nanak was all about. He was doing discourse, he was communicating, he was doing dialogue, which unfortunately we are lacking these days, right? I mean, we really need to remind ourselves like what our gurus were doing. So he went to Kashmir, he had a conversation, and Brahmdas was very inspired, and he adopted Sikhism. He became a Nanak follower at that time. And that's how we see the beginning of Sikhism in Kashmir. So when I was trying to see when the Sikhism started, so I could see that there are like narratives that, Raja Sukhjeevan Mal, he brought some Sikh soldiers to Kashmir and they settled down. And then, of course, the 27 years rule of Maharaja Ranjit Singh rule.
Yes.
So that was also time when there was a huge Punjabi settlements in Kashmir. But then, what was the gurus doing before that, right? So I really wanted to see that are the Sikhs in Kashmir, they're not Punjabis, they're ethnic Kashmiris. They're the ethnic communities who have the same surnames like their fellow other Kashmiris. Like, for example, my family surname is Raina, and then you have a Kashmiri Pandit who is a Raina, and then you have Muslims also same Rainas. So I couldn't associate myself with the Punjab and the Punjabi identity in that sense. So in terms of you see Kashmiri Sikhs, I mean, they are also the ethnic community. They're the ethnic local community. So I think this work is also trying to establish that kind of thing, because Sikhs are not outsider. The way it is being said today, that, oh, these are the outsiders and others are the local community.
It's not like that.
I mean, Sikhism actually started in Kashmir as it started in Punjab. Guru Nanak started.
During the same time.
Yes, it's the same time. And from Guru Nanak, and then we have a Guru Hargobind. He coming to Kashmir, and almost all Gurdwaras we have today are built in his memory. And then we have Guru Hargobind Sahib. He came from the route of Poonch, and he entered South Kashmir. And
the old Mughal route, we call it.
And then he came to Kashmir, to Shadimar Gurdwara, which is in South Kashmir. Then he came to Srinagar, where we have a Mata Pagpari, who had actually prepared a robe for Guru Hargobind Sahib. So he went and met Mata Pagpari there, and Mata Pagpari's son, and they had also adopted Sikhism at that time. So these were the early, these were the early traces of the Sikhs. And then I was trying to do this. I could also find that when Guru Hargobind Sahib went, at that time we had, it's written in one of the texts which I have totally mentioned in my work, that there were the Sikhs around the villages who came to receive him. So that itself says that what Guru Nanak to Guru Hargobind Sahib, I mean, there was, there were people who became follower of Nanak, and they were on the path to the Sikhi. And then if you see the later also, there were so many gurus who were sending so many missionaries, which we say pracharaks. So that means that, Kashmir was in mind of Punjab. I mean, you have so many Pai Madho Sodhi, then Pai Feru. From one guru to other guru, you have many missionaries going to Kashmir to preach Sikhism. So these were the early signs, traces where we could see that there was, the Sikhism, how it originates in Kashmir. And if you go today, you find all these historical gurdwaras, and these are the basic roots, and then rest is the history.
Yes. Komal, abruptly one question is coming into my mind, otherwise I would forget that. How come so that the Sikhs did not move out of the valley when the exodus of the Kashmiri Pandits began in the late 1980s?
Well, I think it's a very complicated. It's a very, and Kashmir is a complicated place. Let's come to that. It's not that easy to understand because it's a place between so many nation states and so many people on it. So so 89. Generally,
you were in school at that time?
Yeah, I was born in 88. I must be 1 year old that time, yes. So I happened not to see Hindu classmates in my school time.
Not at all?
Not at all. Although my siblings and people who were at least born in 70s, so they had memories of having Hindu teachers, Hindu classmates, but by our time things had changed. So we were brought up in quite a majoritarian place. There was no diversity in our schools, and even right now we just have Sikhs and Muslims.
So during your school days, you also mentioned the deserted homes, deserted houses of Kashmiri Pandits. And,
when we were young.
What was it?
I think when we were young, we could see in our colonies that there were few deserted houses, and we could play hide and seek there as children. And so I asked my mother once, I was very young, that, who are the people, and it feels like,
where have they gone? You asked your grandmother?
Yeah, because you have an entire populated good colony, and then there is one house which is deserted totally. And my mother, then she explained to me very early that she said, there used to be Kashmiri Pandits also who used to live here. And then this person was killed very brutally. He was doing some government job, and he was very brutally killed at that time. And so the entire family moved out. So we saw those abandoned houses. And it was very sad. I think that time we couldn't process. But Prabjit, when I came to Delhi, I must say that there is also, the way people don't acknowledge the pain of minorities in Kashmir is very unfortunate. People generally, when I came to Delhi, there's a very popular understanding, that Jagmohan theory, that Governor Jagmohan arranged the trucks and everything. And okay, that's one way of
people say that Jagmohan has been instrumental in a tricky manner.
That's one way of saying it. But what about...
It's a very political statement, actually.
Yeah, what about the killings? What about the major killings? Can we deny that? And imagine a community is in exile. It's in exodus. How can you deny that? So I could see that it was not just that Kashmiri Sikhs are invisible. Even the minority Kashmiri Pandits, who were also privileged in the sense because they were educated, they were in a good power position, even their pain, they are struggling to tell their real story. So Kashmir is a difficult place. And when coming back to your question of 89, I think 89, when the Pandits left, why Sikhs didn't leave? Now this was a question which
this question to you.
Since my work was, I didn't deal much with the contemporary. I was trying to bring out a long historiography of Kashmiri Sikhs. But of course, whenever I used to meet people, I used to ask them, because in 90s things were not easy. That was the real time the violence started. And I come from North Kashmir. I used to go to my grandparents' places from Baramulla to the other towns. And we could see, I have all those memories of the troubled time of Kashmir, and unfortunately, Baramulla was a center of that entire political violence which happened. So, when I started my research, I used to interview people. I used to ask that, why didn't Sikhs leave?
You also asked them.
Yeah, I would, because as a researcher, I don't want it to
Yes.
write.
This
things
is an
which-
abrupt, very obvious question.
Yeah, and I think, but there was no concrete answer. I mean, people used to tell me that, ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਘਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ, ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੇ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਲਿਖੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ, ਕਿੱਥੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ, ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ, whatever. But I knew there was something more to it also. So when I tried doing my research, and I found out that in 1984, what happened to the rest of India also had an impact on J&K also. So in J&K in Jammu, we had in 84 in Talwada, we had 16 Sikhs who were killed.
In Jammu city?
Jammu. It's a
When 84 happened.
Yes. There's a place called Riasi.
Riasi, yes.
Yes. So there was a hydroelectric project. In that there were some employees, and there were Sikhs. And because there was so much of tension against Sikhs going around, so all the Sikhs who were working in that hydroelectric project, they had all assembled in a local gurdwara. And that local gurdwara was being burnt by the local people, and these people were killed. So, and there were 16 people, in which 15 were from Punjab and one was a local from Kashmir. So there was a communal violence which happened, and in the same time, I found out that there was also a police firing in Srinagar against Operation Blue Star, in which 10 people were killed, in which 7 were Sikhs.
Firing on the protest of
Firing
the
on that was a police firing, right? And 7 Sikhs were killed, 3 Muslims who were just standing by, they were also killed. So, and then this was also not, I mean, for that killing, I mean, there's nothing written at all, right? But this was something I could get from talking to people, some kind of a memories would come, and then I would pick up those points and just look around if I can try to establish that history. So, and then in 89, again in Jammu, there was a Guru Gobind Singh, this
religious procession, Nagar Kirtan, we call it. Yes.
And Nagar Kirtan was being attacked, in which also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 13 to 15 people were killed and 200-300 people were injured. And that was the first communal violence in Jammu, right? But then I have also went into detail, like, as an academic person, my job is also not to present history, but also to analyze it, like how it was happening in Delhi, what happened in Jammu. So in Jammu, there was a violence which happened, and people were attacked, but then there was a huge role of civil society who came out to diffuse that tension.
In Jammu,
yes. I mean, when I met so many Sikhs, I mean, they named Balrajpuri and other people, they actually played a very important role and of course a lot of other Sikhs were also there. So, I mean, and then he was supported by many. I'm sure there were many other also Hindus from Jammu who came forward and, diffused that tension of that they should. So there was, this violence was not, it was not that something happened and then entire Hindus in Jammu are attacking Sikhs. It didn't happen like that. There were so many. That is why we have a very low casualty. Because I met, there was a Sikh school who they used to participate in the religious procession. So when this got attacked, it was everybody, nobody could find each other for 2 days. And then they found that it was the local Hindus who had saved, so many of them. Children were saved. So we had a very less. So there were few casualties which happened near Jammu bus stand. In 89. 89. When Nagar Kirtan got attacked, and then there was an entire chaos. People started running here and there. So that killing happened at a very specific place. But otherwise, in the entire city, there was not. There was not much violence. So why I'm discussing all this is that what I was trying to see was that what was a Sikh psyche in 80s, right? And when this exodus happens in Kashmir, now imagine like what has happened in the capital of the country, right? And then Jammu was also going through some kind of communal tension. I could just think that this was one of the biggest reasons for the Sikhs to stay back, because they thought that they are minority. It doesn't matter, they live in Kashmir, they live in Jammu, you know. It's the change of the place is not going to change their struggles. So they felt a vulnerability on both the sides. And this became one of the reasons. And also, Prabjit, in the very beginning of this militancy period, the Sikhs were not that much attacked like Hindus in Kashmir. Also for the reason because Sikhs were not in a powerful position. So we were a powerless people. Nobody would feel threatened by the Sikh presence in Kashmir. I mean, they were not in very good government jobs and whatever. So there was, but in 90s, there were a lot of Sikhs also who were being targeted and killed. So there was a series of target killings of Sikhs also.
It came up in 1990s.
Yes. I mean, I have documented most of them in my work. And these were like, you know, in Kashmir, it is very easy to kill anyone saying that is sarkari banda hai. Like, you know, he works in police, let's kill him. He works in army, let us kill him. So we had these kind of killings. So of course this had impact.
Yeah, I also had a very, I have a guess, you know, it's a wild guess, you can correct me or you can agree with me or disagree, that, you know, it was the 1980s, you know, when Punjab was in turmoil. And Kashmir was also in turmoil in 1980s. You know, these are the two states. They have their own...
Actually, Kashmir came in turmoil after Punjab. So it was the Punjab which was the first...
This could also be the reason, you know, feeling of alienation amongst the Sikhs in the Kashmir Valley also after 84.
I think, yeah, I mean, this
and
is...
they didn't want to settle in any other part of the country, and it's always better to remain in the Kashmir.
Yeah, I mean, because, you know, who would like to get displaced for your own home? It's not easy. Even if today you are living at some place, it's not easy to move with your bags and just leave that place forever.
So demographically, where does this community, where do the Sikhs stand in the Kashmir Valley? I have heard now, as on today, they have a second home. It is said that the Sikhs are having a second home in Jammu or Delhi or elsewhere.
I think this is what I have been talking from last few years, and I'm very happy that people have started picking up this thing now, that, you know, there is a silent migration of Sikhs happening in Kashmir. I mean,
the year,
especially it happened after Chittisinghpura.
That was in which year?
It was in 2000.
In the year 2000, during the visit of US President Bill Clinton.
Chittisinghpura happened, in which 35 Sikhs were killed. And after that, we have seen a pattern of a migration. So it's a migration in which, now in Kashmir, if you get like Kashmiri Pandits or even Muslims and Sikhs, they get registered as a Kashmiri migrants. Now, the larger population of Sikhs are actually have a second home in Jammu. I used to think why and it's not that the Sikhs were very rich in Kashmir. Like they had to really sell off their orchards and land and then buy some, kind of a land in Jammu. So it's a kind of a survival thing, which a community, it is not a very collective, because we don't have any political leadership, we didn't have any political party, or we don't have any leader at all. And it's not that it's a very collective decision, but it's a very conscious survival kind of a decision which community has made, that everybody, because they feel that, because Jammu is more diverse. Jammu has a Hindu population, Jammu has a Muslim population, and when they feel that it is more diverse, and so people don't really want to leave Kashmir, but they are also making a base in somewhere else. So in case something like this happens to us, where shall we go? And it's also, a Sikh instinct also, because Sikhs are, we really have to also understand how a Sikh community also see all this. There's also Sikh psyche, which I feel, which I can term in terms of Kashmir, because, a Sikh, they don't put themselves as a victim.
Komal, can we say that the insurgency in Kashmir didn't target the Sikhs in 1980? They are targeted Hindus. Is this a fact?
Well, initially it was Hindus and it was also Muslims. There was also Muslims who were killed, who were being seen, whatever, termed, labeled. It's very easy to label anybody, anything, That's the very scary part of Kashmir. And that's the reason people don't talk. People just put you in boxes. You are this, you are that. And then it makes you very vulnerable also. So it's not that it was just Kashmiri Hindus. They were, of course, the first to be targeted. And there were many Muslims also who were killed. And then also the Sikhs also. It's a kind of a very collective targeting killings which have been happening.
You mentioned the Chittisinghpura massacre of the Sikhs in the year 2000.
Yeah, it's my 4th chapter which I have went to into a lot of detail.
We also try to follow it up, regarding when it comes to the investigations of the massacre of the Sikhs in Chittisinghpura in the year 2000. This is an unfinished probe. Everybody knows that. Investigation.
Well, Prabjeet, it was very shocking for me when I started this research, and I knew about Pathribal.
Yes, Pathribal. It's better if you can just narrate for the audience what happened.
So Pathribal, after Chittisinghpura, there was an. It was.
The state comes up, army comes up with a statement that. The state comes with a statement that 5 insurgents from across the border who had
killed
done this
Chittisinghpura
massacre.
But then,
then the 5 boys were missing from Pathribal, and there was all
hue and cry,
and the bodies were exhumed after a lot of protest. I think 1 or 2 killings also took place.
Then Barakpura happened, in which another police firing happened, and the protesters, many people were killed. So it's a very unfortunate.
So the bodies were exhumed, and they.
So in 15 days, we have almost 45 people dead in the entire district. 35 Sikhs, followed by the 5 Pathribal, and I think 7 from the Barakpura. So it's just a 15 days event, such a violent event.
So was it a joint protest of the Sikhs and the Muslims in Barakpura?
No.
For the Pathribal encounter?
Well, if you see, how we know Pathribal is a fake encounter is because there was an investigation done on it. There was a judicial probe, and there was if I'm not wrong, I think it was a Pandian commission which was done on this, and then we have that's how we got to know that this is.
So the 5 Muslim boys who were killed in Pathribal in the said encounter came out to be as they came out as innocents, 5 innocent boys.
What is my question in my work was that when Pathribal happened, there was an inquiry on it.
Yes.
And that's how we know it is. We are not saying that it's right, or it's what is a state narrative, and then there is a commission by the government itself. But on Chittisinghpura, nothing was done. No probe was done. Right? And it's unfortunate that nobody from Kashmir also raised this question.
At that time, Union Home Minister was L.K. Advani, if I am right, and the then chief, the National Conference chief Farooq Abdullah, nowhere on the record, but informally while talking to the journalists, on the sidelines of events, he used to say कि Advani साहब से पूछिए regarding the investigation of the Chittisinghpura massacre, Advani साहब नहीं मानते. Yeah, he gave a guess.
But this is not how a former chief minister, should actually say all this. These are just. I feel it. These are just tactics to diffuse attention. This is not how we expect a political leader to say.
Then J&K government was accountable for that.
Of course, they should be. They should be. If we could have a probe on, Pathribal, why not Chittisinghpura? But then, of course, Prabjeet, there is another dimension to it. One is that there is a lack of accountability on that, and this is a continued demand. Every 20th March, we have Akhand Path in the village, which villagers organize.
So that was the date of the massacre.
Yes, and this is one of the demands since then. It has been now more than 25 years, and the people are demanding. But now, as somebody from the community, now like if I have come to a stage where I also see that what is the possibility of these commissions? I mean, the villagers are living in that village where the incident happened, and we know in Kashmir now and then people get killed.
Did you talk to the widows in Chittisinghpura?
Yes, I have all the narratives in book, and I think
So what is Chittisinghpura today? Are the Sikhs still residing in Chittisinghpura?
yes, they are very much residing in the same village, and one of the reason was that also the state government gave them jobs to the widows. So, and also it was a community decision. It was a community decision that.
How that happened, if you can just tell us.
Well, if you see in my work in Chittisinghpura chapter, I have actually given a very detailed account of what was happening from the first to the 10 days. Because these were the 10 days which I feel are very crucial in understanding the Sikh presence and Sikh politics
And
also.
the Akali leadership from Punjab.
See, Punjab has always been a backbone for the Kashmir Sikhs. I mean, Punjab has been one being an immediate neighbor, and also I think Sikhs everywhere in outside Punjab look up to Punjab for everything, right? And J&K just being the next to the Punjab, of course, we have always had a very close connections with Punjab. So when this happened, we had a huge leadership from Punjab who came out. Everybody.
Including the separatist Simranjit Singh Maan.
Of course, of
and
course.
I think he was very friendly to Saeed Ali Shah Gilani.
I mean, yes.
He used to look forward to the Hurriyat conference whenever there was any kind of.
Yeah, they had their own, I think. But then we had Badals, and we had Akal Takht people, we had SGPC, we had all Sikh institution
So what was
people.
the narrative at that time when Bhog, that ritual, on the deaths of these 36 deaths occurred and happened? What was the narrative that was set by the Sikh leadership at that time?
See, the very first day, the Sikhs said they will leave Kashmir.
On the very first day after the massacre?
The massacre, yeah. They said they will leave Kashmir, they don't want. And of course, because Kashmir is also the place where the Pandits have left, right? Right? So how long you can take this, right? So there was a huge protest among the community that they want to leave. But of course, in those 10 days, the community also, I mean, at that time, we had an all-party Sikh coordination committee, which was also formed by local Sikhs, because we didn't have a political party. So the president is Jagmohan Singh Raina, who has been very vocal about the Kashmir issues. Yes, he has been. I mean, APSCC they call it. So it's a very one of the organization which has been talking about the Sikh issues since then. It was formed around the Chittisinghpura time only. So in those 10 days, I think the community comprehend their situation, like, even if they go out, there was also, not formally but informally, people told me that there was also offer that they can come to Punjab, they will get entire area for them, and they will have a Kashmir Sikh settlement in Punjab. But the community also didn't feel like to.
And they never settled in Punjab till date, am I right?
Yes, because we also here, it's not, we are Sikhs, we are closely associated to Punjab, but we are not Punjabis. So that is, we are also Kashmiris. So our emotional and cultural thing is with Kashmir. I mean, in a very simple terms, I mean, we cannot even handle the heat of the plains, right? So we are the people from the mountains. It's really not easy for us to be in these plains. But of course, and I think if you see my work in that chapter, you will see that even the Sikh leadership also realized that it will be better also that, I mean, there was a lot of discussion happening, and they realized that it will be good for the community if they only stay back in their place. Because,
for the sake of?
Well, I think it's also the vulnerability of being a micro minority. Where will you go? I mean, we also know the reality of Punjab also. Are like the Sikhs in Punjab very prosperous? I mean, they have their own set of issues which they are dealing from such a long time. People today, I remember in Twitter and all, they just bring up the picture of Guru Granth Sahib, how the Sikhs were leaving from the Afghanistan. I mean, they were the last one to leave, the last people to leave at the last, when all the options had, exhausted. So in Kashmir also, I think in Chittisinghpura, I mean, and if Chittisinghpura people would have migrated, then the entire Sikh population of Kashmir would have. It would have an impact on the entire population. And also, it's a Muslim majority place, and the Sikhs of Jammu and Kashmir, they follow Sikhism in their very real sense in terms of fundamentals, like maintaining their beard, having, tying their turbans, and unshorn, yes, and also the food habits. Sikhs in J&K don't eat halal at all. I mean, they will eat vegetarian, but they will never compromise on their fundamentals. So this can also be, because if you see Kashmiri Hindus and Muslims, when they eat in that Tarambi, yes, they have a social gathering of eating together. But among the Kashmiri Sikhs, we don't eat. I mean, even if it's a stigma for a Kashmiri Sikh. As a Sikh, how can you? And even the Muslims knows about it. I mean, and this has never, it has never strained our relations.
What could be the feast? Suppose in Kashmir, if the Sikhs, attend a ritual of Kashmiri family, maybe a marriage function and all.
Yeah, it's actually very interesting. It's very interesting. So they would just have chai, tea, coffee, snacks, that's it. Food was not shared much. So whenever we had a wedding, so in earlier time, how Sikhs and Muslims, what they had done is like, we used to give sukka ration to each other.
Sukka ration?
Yes.
Dry ration? Dry
ration. So they used to like, because we are all non-vegetarians, all Kashmiris are, and they could give, chicken, zinda chicken de deta to the entire colony, to each house. So this was how it happened.
This must be a very old trend, not now.
No, it was till very recent. I have memories of this. They would, but like food habit in the terms like you can share tea. So the problem is of Jatka and halal. Right? So even the Muslims won't eat, the Sikhs won't eat.
Even at suppose at a function in the Sikh family, if they could, I think, arrange some halal meat or different sections. No. See, earlier we never used to have we were a people in a conflict, right?
We never had the restaurants and all those cultures. So recently, in last 10 years, we have some Sikh restaurants which have come up, and then also Muslims also. So now the trend is changed. So if you have a Sikh Muslim wedding, what they will do is they will go to that Sikh restaurant guy and tell him that, okay, we have a Sikh gathering of this much. You arrange it. And this is happening. This is, and I think this is very interesting also in terms of people who live in Delhi, because they think that sometimes you have to really outgrow your fundamentals of your religion to become inclusive or acceptable. But in Kashmir, it doesn't happen.
Frankly speaking, is there any mutual respect that is now left in the Kashmir Valley?
Of course there is.
Between the Sikhs and the Hindus and the Muslims?
Well, I think there is Kashmiri society at large is a lovely society. It's a beautiful society, and the amount of turmoil we have seen, and still we can laugh, still we can, we can live our lives, and still we have so much of warmth for each other. It doesn't happen anywhere else. So, in day-to-day life, there is no problem between Sikhs and Muslims. I mean, we share our culture, we have, in our schools, you have your friend circles who are Muslim. So there's not. But then there is what I'm talking is about political marginalization, social marginalization, because there's a community who is a very micro minority, and then there should be something done to protect them, to make them to stay in Kashmir, which is not happening. our youngsters, because of unemployment, they're leaving Kashmir. And that's a very, very unfortunate trend which has started. And in my own family only, hardly any of my cousin is living there. And it's not that they don't want to live there. So everybody says that if I get a job, and what is a job for them? It's a government job, because we don't have other opportunities. Everybody's ready to go back. Yeah. So I'm saying that, they are like, it's not that they really want to leave, even today. If there is some kind of engagements done by Government of India, and of course the local government also needs, I'm sorry to say what the local governments have done to the Sikhs. What they have done in last 30 years, not even a single voice has reached Delhi corridors. Why? You have one minority living in Kashmir. They should have been done something for their youngsters, because we are also in an open category. Our youngsters, they don't come into any reservation, so we have to compete in a general category. And being such a small minority, how can it happen that you can have a representation in jobs and other services? Although Sikhs are doing really well. If you go to today, our young people, they're working hard, because one thing about J&K Sikhs is that they are focusing on education, which is very important. And we have very educated young people. And now, because they don't find any engagement, so they're leaving. They're not just leaving J&K, they're leaving India, which is very threatening for us, which is a worrisome situation. That as a researcher, as somebody from there, I'm seeing that what will be, who will be in Kashmir, which Kashmiri Sikh will be after 20 years now. So I think these are the very important things which needs to come out, and something should be done.
My question is now, if you can just share with us, how well have you dealt with the rule of Maharaja Ranjit Singh in Kashmir, and how it was different, from the previous rulers? Who were the Muslim rulers?
Yeah. So what I have done is because Sikh rule in Kashmir was not my core work. It was just a reference point for me. So,
but nobody can afford to miss that.
No, of course, because when I was trying to establish the presence of Sikh community and historically, so 27-year rule of Maharaja Ranjit Singh becomes a vital importance. So when I have talked about that in a lot of detail, that how in 1819 it started in Kashmir, and then when I started seeing there's quite a lot negative written about the Sikh rule in Kashmir, that it was very oppressive. It had, there was a lot of taxations and all that. Now, personally, I won't deny that it wasn't, in the sense that I think all rulers are oppressive in some or other sense. I think it will be really a mistake if we start justifying one and the other. But what I could see that there is not objectivity in writing that historical part of Sikh rule. And if you see in that, the entire writing is that, it was a darkest period. And then before that, it was an Afghan rule, in which the non-Muslims, which are Hindus, were not even allowed to tie turbans. There was a jizya on them, right?
And you also told me that mustaches were also...
Yeah, mustaches, they were not allowed, right?
The Kashmiri Pandits were
yes,
not allowed.
So after the Sikh rule, that, that dignity to the minority was restored.
Hindu community was restored.
But then, for three things which I found was that they say that cow slaughter was banned. But then cow slaughter was banned everywhere the Sikh rule happened. So it was not exclusive to Kashmir. And then
It was not for targeting Muslims.
Yeah, and then Jama Masjid was closed. Right? This is what you will find in all the writing, that, Sikh rule is very...
Azan never...
So when I tried to see that,
what was
that it was that Jama Masjid was closed for the political reasons. It was not that the religious freedom of the Muslims was taken away by the rulers. People were allowed to do whatever.
In other mosques,
yes,
everywhere,
yes,
across the valley.
Throughout the valley, and there was
also...
Yes. political reason, because it's a central place. But of course, this is something which we cannot even defend, right? I mean, but then there are also other school of thought, like why it was closed. It was closed for the political reasons. And also another dimension I recently got to know, which lately I got to know, not during my research, was there was also Shia-Sunni conflict happening in Kashmir. Right, and it's very unfortunate that none of those writings talk about the internal conflict. How
So that disturbance also was there
yeah, that disturbance was
in the
also-
medieval history of
yes,
Kashmir.
yes, there was. So Sikhs also tried to stabilize that kind of, but then it was, so the 27-day rule is a very short time, and there was a famine, drought, all kind of things happened in Kashmir during that time. So I mean, we have to see, but then the shawl industry which we see today, it actually got, it flourished during the Sikh rule. But then if you see, the most of the writings on which the contemporary Kashmir writing on the Sikh rule relies is on the European writings. And the Europeans were first time allowed to travel in Kashmir. Imagine, they were never allowed to travel before.
By the Pathans, they were not allowed.
No. It was the first time by the Sikh rulers that they were allowed. But that's another thing, they were writing negative about them also.
Yeah, but they were French, and many there were some journals from Europe in the empire of Maharaja Ranjit Singh.
So they went to the Kashmir. They documented.
Can we say that Maharaja Ranjit Singh's rule was comparatively more secular or comparatively secular
I think
than the previous regimes of the Pathans and the...
I think Prabjit, because in the recent past, I'm seeing there's a lot of work coming on the Maharaja Ranjit Singh rule, right? I mean, how
people are taking interest now.
Yes, how it was secular in nature, right? But I think in terms of Kashmir, not much is done. Not much has been done. I mean, it's a very established, linear way of seeing. Oh, the Sikh rule happened for 27 years. It was very oppressive. Jama Masjid was closed, and this and that taxation was there. I think we really, and imagine that Persian documents, which are very vital to understand the history of that time, are not even still translated. There are at least 3-4 major documents of the Sikh rule in Kashmir, which have not been still documented. But I know few young scholars.
It is in which language?
Persian. It's in Persian.
It is yet to be decoded.
It's yet to be decoded, right? And imagine, we don't know what sort of a history will come out of that. So, I mean, but now recently we have young scholars who are taking interest on the Sikh rule in Kashmir. But I would suggest, if anybody is watching this, that if they would really like, they should actually decode those manuscripts, which are in other language. Because, I mean, that will really help us to understand what was the exact nature of Sikh rule. Because if you see Diwan Chand Sharma's book and D.C. Sharma, he really talks in detail about a lot of administrative reforms.
During the regime of Maharaja.
Yes. And then it was the first time the Kashmir became part of the subcontinent. And so it was also challenging for them also I mean, geographically it was very challenging for them. So even Maharaja Ranjit Singh could never travel to Kashmir himself. He came up to Jammu only. He couldn't go to the he couldn't travel to the Kashmir. So in the kind is like that, we have it's very important. But I mean, what I wanted to highlight is that there's a very linear understanding of Sikh rule, and that is not written in a very, I mean, it's a very linear understanding written. I mean, if you see Kashmiri writings, G.M. Sufi, Khande, all these people talking about, I mean, as a Sikh, I become very angry. Oh, really? Not angry that, because there were a lot of things which are written, and it's unfortunately that nobody questioned it. Nobody questioned the, authenticity of those. I mean, by saying all this, I'm saying that, there can be the condition of the local Muslims was not really good among all the times, even till Dogra time also. It was not it was really not that good. But we also need to bring out the other voices of the history, and also bring out like what Muslim rulers had done to the Muslims also in Kashmir.
Any instance you would like to quote here?
Well, I didn't deal because, but yes, before Sikh rule it was Afghans, so they were very brutal.
All the communities.
Yes. So I mean, it really needs to be reflected.
And they were not Kashmiris.
Yeah,
the Pathans were not
none of them was. Yes.
So then comes the Dogra rule, the Dogra's regime.
Yeah.
Can we say it was because of Maharaja? It was because of the Ranjit Singh's rule that Dogra after that happened to rule J&K.
Well, I think the modern Jammu and Kashmir is the result of Maharaja Ranjit Singh. We should credit him with it. I mean, whatever we say, the modern map of Jammu and Kashmir.
It's because of the Maharaja Ranjit Singh.
Of course, he brought Kashmir into this.
Into it.
Yes. And of course,
otherwise Jammu would have never become the part of the larger J&K state.
Yes, it would never have
been. It was
been.
because of Maharaja Ranjit Singh.
Yes. And of course, after like Gulab Singh, the treaty in which he bought J&K, that's matlab. The treaty of, I forgot the name, I think I should check. So Gulab Singh actually then became the first Dogra.
The treaty signed with the Britishers?
Yeah, Britishers, in which it's considered that in 75 lakh they bought Jammu and Kashmir. It's very unfortunate. How can you buy J&K?
It's unfair actually.
Yeah, it is. So,
but it was Maharaja Ranjit Singh who just sold Kashmir to the Britishers. Can we say that?
Well, Sikhs had already been defeated in Punjab, isn't it?
Oh yes, the Anglo-Sikh war.
Yes, Sikhs had already been defeated.
There was no other way out.
No other way. So Gulab Singh took over the Jammu and Kashmir because he was from Jammu itself, and he was a most powerful person in among the people in J&K. So the Dogras established. I mean, it was till 1947 we had a Dogras rule, and it was also a mixed kind of rule. I mean, we have many good things also done. I mean, the present colleges, we see Amar Singh College, all these old colleges, heritage. So they were done during the, Dogra time. So Dogras also had a kind of a mixed administrative, but people found it also very oppressive towards others.
Muslims, Kashmiri Muslims.
Yeah, but then if you see in 1920s, it also became anti-Punjabi also. I mean,
yes,
there were a lot of Punjabis who were in administrative posts. So this, what we say, this domicile actually started in 1920s. When because they wanted to keep, and it, the writings say that it was started by Kashmiri Pandits only. That they should keep Punjabis out of the administrative jobs of Jammu.
I would like you to elaborate on this in our second part of our conversation here. So this was Komal JB Singh in our first part of the podcast interview, and very soon we'll be coming up with the continuation of this, the part 2 of this conversation.